unfortunately, I am not working right now, and I'm a current and recent job seeker. I think the search of my employment have been not as easy as people that are non-disabled happen to be, because as with first contact, especially during the phone screening and the interview, because of my disability and the way I talk, people are taken off guard, and that can lead to biases of how I can communicate effectively. I think people should understand the barriers and challenges people with disabilities face in looking and searching for a job, and the process of the recruitment and hiring processes are, I think, with the support I'm given is helpful, but it's coming from a non-disabled lens. Unlike, you get support from people who got that disability lens in mind, who got lived experiences, and who can really go on how to navigate through that space with your visible disability or invisible disability too. Yeah, I think for the interview process, I think for employers, they don't, some other interviewing structures and processes, I can say some of it is, some employers are really accommodating, really accessible, and really willing to really support the candidate to be successful in any way, and providing accommodation such as extra time during an interview, or giving you a document about what did the structure of the interview look like, and what are the questions are. But for some employers, I think that they need a lot of work. Not some, I think most employers need a lot of work on making their processes more accessible, and not worrying about having the perfect process, but adapting to those people that may need more support to be successful. Right now, so that my current employer wants me to do the job. So right now I'm working as an associate consultant, consultant for 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 an accessibility company in BC. And let me tell you, feel I feel like I'm trusted to do the job, because I got lived experience for the services they're providing, and they're providing some accessibility services and auditing and planning for private and non-profit sectors. But also, I feel like I don't feel like the pink elephant in that in the room in that organization. Even though I work independently, I I thought that organization because they hire so many more people that have invisible and visible disabilities, and they value them and they compensate them for their lived experiences as well as their professional experiences as well. I think working in HR, we need to redefine how we measure performance and how we measure how people do their jobs. I think in the corporate sector, it's more of that old school mindset of like showing results and showing and actually seeing the person doing work, not like nowadays we know that certain work environments and certain cultures doesn't is not accessible to people who have disabilities, especially those who have invisible disabilities. For example, even how we communicate our work and that whole idea of professionalism is rooted by that old school thinking that is built by the patriarchy, by white men and by colonization. So we kinda need to rethink how we see work and art performer, and we kinda need to adapt the work culture and the work environment to be universally designed. With me asking for a conversation, for example, it took me a while and it took somebody to reach out and say, hey, I see you're working like this. I noticed how you type is a disadvantage compared to the rest of us. Let's see if you can get a conversation. And I think with employers, we always have that mindset of it should be the employee job to come to us for a conversation. I think we need to be proactive on that and see if any employee need accommodation, and if a manager or leader see one of their employees really in a disadvantage, really working really hard to keep up with everyone else, they need to identify that and they need to be more proactive and be like, hey, let's have a conversation. How can I better support you? I feel like it's all up to the leader and the culture, and it's all about because not a lot of leaders got that, not a lot of managers got that. They don't know how to advocate. They don't know how to advocate and they don't have empathy. So if you have those two as a leader, if you're empathetic and willing to actively listen, but also being proactive and working with your employees to help better their development professionally and also willing to work with them, then then you will set them up for success. I always say whenever throughout my work experiences and journey, when a colleague asks about me and about my life experiences, that means the world to me because I think oftentimes we grew up in a time where we shouldn't point, we shouldn't ask those questions because it's rude. We should not acknowledge disability, but I think when a colleague asked me about how I grew up and about my disability, it means so much more to me because it just shows that they're invested they're invested on me and they wanna invest a relationship with me. So I think I think asking about that and that shows me that they care about me and they wanna support me and see me succeed. About disability, I think employers need to adapt. I think employers need to adapt. I think as a professional, I do recognize it's all about processes and all about making sure that we're organized and stuff. I think organizations must be more empathetic and must be really seeing disability as limitless potential instead of being limited. Because I think when employers see disability as as a as a liability, that limit their overall thinking and their overall human capital and their overall innovation as an organization. And it kills me to say, but in the workplace, I'm seeing that a lot of people, a lot of organizations, a lot of non-disabled people are benefiting from disability oppression and accessibility. For example, we use computers, we email now, we use Teams on meetings because people sometimes don't wanna go all the way down 20 floors to go meet a colleague, and they're benefiting of that, but we don't give enough credit to accessibility and the value disability gives to one organization.